So Mikael is the leader of this Swedish adventure racing team, and he's, trudging along in the Ecuadorian rainforest. And about halfway through, he comes across the stray dog, and they kind of just meet. He doesn't really think anything of it at first, but then as the race goes on, he keeps running into this dog, and the dog keeps appearing. And eventually, they form a real bond and a relationship. And over the course of that race, they grow closer. It's just such a sweet story of man and dog. But it's also this like gritty sports story highlighting one of these, I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of the adventure racing thing before, but it really sheds a spotlight on just what these people go through in this sport. So Leo's this kind of adventure athlete and also social media influencer. So he's a guy that, really is very conscious of the image that he's putting out in the world. He does very, very well for himself in kind of both avenues. He's, a world-class adventure racer, of course, but he's also managing a very strong social media presence. And he's got a very loyal Instagram following. Leo sometimes sees, I feel like, kind of can take a step back and look at the bigger picture of what an opportunity is, whereas Mikael is sometimes so tunnel vision about, I have to win, this is my race, this is my life. And I think it creates just like a really interesting dynamic between the two of them. And I'm excited for people to see the movie, to see kind of more about how our characters interact and play with each other. So when I first read the script, I immediately thought about my own dog, Barkley, who had passed away just a little bit over a year ago. And I think that's, it really touched me. And I think that's what the script is going to do, and that's what the story is going to do for so many people. I mean, so many of us have grown up with dogs or had dogs in our life, and we can all kind of attest to how much they mean to us and how much we need them. And I think, in this particular story, Mikael, our main character, really, really needed the presence of Arthur, and the two really just kind of find each other and complete each other. My training was largely dictated by the real Mikael Lindnord, who was with us for the entire movie. And that honestly was such a valuable asset to have for us, because he's not only the guy who wrote the book, but the guy who has been, who has lived and breathed adventure racing for, so much of his life. And he was able to kind of lend his wisdom to us. So I feel like I did everything that they would have done, now, albeit in a much smaller way. I wasn't, running for 300 kilometers at once. But, he taught us how to, for example, carry our gear with us, how to reach for our water bottle, even in the way that adventure racers reach for our water bottles. The Dominican Republic is such a beautiful country to shoot in. And of course, it's not hard to react to just being in the rainforest. I feel like it's what the adventure racers are going through as they're running through and seeing the trees and the rain and dealing with the humidity, but also just the gorgeous, gorgeous natural wonders of what the country has to offer too. But yeah, we've had days on the water where we've been in kayaks all day. We've had days in the pouring rain with the rain machine and in the mud and the swamp, and it's really, I mean, this shoot has really given us all that adventure racing has to offer. So our core adventure racing team is a team of 4. So first and foremost, we've got Mikael, played by, of course, Mark Wahlberg. He's been such a generous presence on set. Wonderful professional, smart, easy to work with, and I really admire his instincts. I mean, he's someone who's been doing it for so long, and has just so much experience and expertise, and I just feel like I'm learning every single day that I'm with him, which has been fantastic. And then you have myself. You have Olivia Baker, who's being played by the amazing Natalie Emanuel, and you have Chicky Chikarotis, who's being played by Ali Suleiman. The true star of the movie, I think, is Yukai, who plays Arthur, who has just been put through the absolute ringer as far as, what an actor has to do. I mean, he's done all his own stunts. It's really hard to find a stunt double for Yukai. You know, he is not at any point like a CGI version of himself. It's all Yukai, and he's got to do everything, and he absolutely kills it, you know, and it's such a joy to be with him on set every day. We, of course, had dog actors playing the stray dogs. One dog in particular, her name's Chopa. She and I just kind of like started hanging out together in between takes, and I was, you know, giving her pets, and we just kind of started developing a nice connection. Literally by the second day, I had fallen so hopelessly in love with this dog, and I was like, nope, it's got to be her. I'm bringing her with me, and she's just going to be my best friend for the rest of my life. I think I watched the ESPN mini doc that everyone did when the story broke, and it was, you know, for anyone that has ever had dogs in their lives, and I was a dog lover my whole life, so it definitely resonated with me. Kind of just fell in love with the whole thing, and of course, when I learned that they were making a movie about it, I was like, well, no surprise. It's an incredible story. It's inspirational. You know, it's hopeful, and it's very, very touching. And so it was an easy yes for me when I read the script. Not only was the story really, you know, moving and compelling, but also I think just the challenge that it presented for the actors was really awesome, just to get to go and be a part of the environment and to learn all these, you know, incredible skills, and to get to spend time in a special place like the Dominican Republic for a few months was a really rare opportunity. I couldn't say no. I play Leo, who is just this young, hot-headed adventure racer. Michael and Leo have a really complicated history that you kind of see early on in the movie, where in a previous adventure race, things don't really turn out well for them, and they end kind of on really bad terms. But when it's time to start up again, and Michael has this idea to kind of do one last race, his sponsors actually kind of force Leo on him, because Leo's this like adventure racing, like outdoors influencer type of guy. And so Michael very begrudgingly goes to Leo, and they have this like very contentious dynamic, but they you know, both realize that I think they need each other to try to win this race. These are human beings that we play, and so I thought, well, I know a lot of people in LA in the influencer space. I think we all do. And I think one thing that we can all agree is that they're incredibly hardworking and they're incredibly resourceful. And, you know, they've learned to be very self-reliant in a lot of things. So I tried to focus on that and base Leo's character on, like, you know, he's ambitious and he's, you know, he's very good at what he does. All these influencers they're like so many different departments of their own little mini company. You know, they're their own creative directors, they're their own, you know, photographers, graphic designers, and everything. So I tried to really just play into that, and also, you know, have Leo be like a formidable physical force, so that, you know, I wanted people to feel like if you had Leo on your team, you would feel like, all right, we got a good shot. I think every day was full of lots of memorable moments with Yukai, specifically because we could never predict what he would do on any given day. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like, you know, so much of what we do is like planned for us, you know, in the movie making process. We have our marks that we're supposed to go to. We have the words that we're supposed to say. And I think having an energy, an unpredictable force, if you will, like Yukai on set every day, really just kept us on our toes and made the whole filmmaking process just spontaneous and fun, because you really never knew what you were gonna get. But Yukai, I mean, one thing is for certain, Yukai did bring poise and professionalism with him on set every single day, and we were just so happy to be able to share our screen time with him. We're all fighting for something at the end of the day, and Arthur's, you know, fighting for his right to survive and for food, you know, and just a shelter and home in a way. But we can see that Michael's been going through a lot of the same things too. These races are so, you know, grueling that you really need all four members of a team to just be so in sync and so unified in their desire to win, right? And so Arthur in the beginning is such an antithesis to that, that, you know, a lot of the team members, specifically Leo, treat him as like an unwanted presence. But I think eventually, as their bond deepens and as, you know, our relationship with him becomes more like a friendship, I think we start to realize in all the ways that we've all grown and been affected by Arthur. The four members of Team Broadrail were, of course, myself. We have, you know, Mark, who plays Michael, who's, you know, our leader and the one that ultimately ends up forging that bond with Arthur. So we have Natalie Emanuel, who plays Olivia, who's kind of the rock climbing specialist of the group. She's like a world-class climber. And we have Ali Suleiman, who plays Chick, or Chikarotis, who's kind of like the veteran of our team. His specialty is just in navigating and orienteering, which is just critically important for these adventure races. One of my favorite parts of prep for any movie is getting to train in physical components and to inhabit, you know, different characters. And, you know, sometimes it's learning 16 different types of martial arts, and sometimes it's, you know, it's biking and it's kayaking. I think the hardest part of our shoot was really just, you know, getting the incredible footage that you'll see when you watch the film, but we really didn't fake any of it, you know. Like if there's a shot of us kayaking through mangroves, I mean, that's what we did. The one message that I would love for audiences to take after seeing this film is that, you know, it's one thing to choose a puppy from a breeder and then to, you know, raise that puppy, which I think is a beautiful thing. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's something incredibly special about stumbling upon a friend that you never knew that you needed, and having both of your lives be so profoundly changed by each other. And I think that's what happens to Arthur and Michael in real life in this movie. I think when you adopt an animal, it's really, you're giving a life to a creature beyond their wildest hopes and dreams, and you're giving that animal the loving home and the forever home, hopefully, that really deep down they've always longed for. And nothing could be more beautiful than that. So I hope that people who watch this movie will consider, if they're considering getting a dog, if someone in their friend group or their family is considering getting a dog, first of all, great choice, but consider adopting, because you never know. You're not only could you change this animal's life, this animal could change your life so profoundly.